I'm with Advocates for Innocence, and today we're going to talk about how prevalent wrongful convictions are in the United States today. Of the 2.3 million incarcerated individuals in the United States today, we could see that number of innocent people behind bars is anywhere from 46,000 to 230,000 people. The most common cause is eyewitness misidentification, with more than half of wrongful convictions caused by false accusations during trial. The other most common causes are unreliable or improper forensic science, false confessions, informant testimony, government misconduct, or inadequate defense. To gain more insight and expertise, I interviewed two Harvard Law School graduates, Emily Nash and Austin Anderson.
The presence of people who are not guilty or haven't been shown to be guilty beyond a reasonable doubt is very high. I worked on a team that represented a man who had been convicted in 1986 of murder based on certain tactics that police are not allowed to take now. They were taking back in 1986 and led to his conviction. It wasn't until we had some sort of new evidence that we were allowed to then bring his case up again. So everybody could agree that the photo array that they showed was really problematic. And everyone could agree that there was something fishy about the witness identification and it looked like it was tampered with. But it wasn't until now when we had forensics experts who could look at the video footage and say with certainty that the video footage had been tampered with, that we legally had the ability to bring a motion for a new trial. These barriers to getting his case before a judge again are so problematic. And you could just imagine so many cases where that's not possible.
Part of the overall problem here is the pressure put on people to accept plea deals. Prosecutors have unlimited discretion to make charging decisions, and so force people to take deals even if they didn't actually do anything.
While there are countless cases that we can include in this one video, I would like to specifically talk about the case of Glynn Simmons. Glynn Simmons has been in prison for 42 years after being convicted of a robbery murder in 1974. There is zero evidence linking Glynn to the crime, and even the prosecutor in this case has expressed how much he regrets trying this case. And the victim's own sister has written the parole board begging for his release on the grounds that he is completely innocent. Several witnesses came forward during the trial to testify that Glynn was not even in the scene. But not only was he not at the scene, he was not even in the state until after the crime had been committed. But Glynn was still convicted only based off of one testimony of the woman who was in the store and also got shot during the incident. And she already picked a handful of suspects during multiple police lineups. Glynn's public defender failed him, and he was sentenced to death. However, Oklahoma's death penalty was later declared unconstitutional, so all death sentences were converted to life sentences. And if it wasn't for that, he wouldn't be here today. He was only 22 when he was convicted, and now he is over 60 and still begging parole members and attorneys to re-examine the evidence. Glynn still has hope after all of these years, but think about the amount of his life that he has lost. So if you get anything out of this video, please, I just urge you to sign and share this petition because he deserves justice. Unfortunately, this story does not stand alone, and to learn more about the victimization aspects of wrongful convictions, I talked to Dr. Susan Miller at the University of Delaware. I think too many people simply don't care enough about wrongful convictions. Either they don't really believe it happens, probably because they've never encountered improper police behavior or overreach from prosecutors, or they're simply unaware of it. There are people who think that people must come to the attention of the criminal justice system for a reason, and they don't inquire further. They have misguided faith that the system will correct its own mistakes, not understanding the power of the criminal justice system, and also the expense involved in challenging a wrongful conviction. The troubling statistics about the number of those wrongfully convicted are not part of the broader public discourse. Dr. Miller also stated that younger folks are more likely to be manipulated by the police or the criminal justice system, and could confess out of fear, or they are more susceptible when questioned at length during confinement. They typically don't know a lot about their legal rights, and interrogators may take advantage of that. They might not even know that they could ask for an attorney. People who are also at risk are those who cannot afford the type of legal representation that would zealously go after so-called evidence, such as fabricated evidence, eyewitnesses who didn't really see what they say they saw, or people who are afraid of retaliation from witnesses and so forth. These people are at higher risk and are typically poor people of color or poor people in general. Dr. Miller stated that projects should be created for law school students that could involve public service announcements to warn people about the possibility of wrongful convictions, and that more should be taught to students in middle school and high school about the Constitution and how these legal protections apply to them. Spreading awareness and providing support is exactly what groups like mine are attempting to achieve. Advocates for Innocence has a website in which you can find a one-stop shop for all of the statistics about wrongful convictions, organizations to support, petitions to sign, all of the information of what we can do to become the best citizens we can be and give power back to the people.